Hi there, I'm Dr. Jason Lord with Laser Body Renewal. I want to visit with you about skin rejuvenation and introduce you to an advanced skin rejuvenation technology called Neogen PSR, which stands for Plasma Skin Regeneration. The results from using this new approach, which you'll see in just a moment, are extraordinary. And they're like nothing possible, short of surgery at least to date. To put this technological advancement into some context, Neogen PSR is part of an entirely new generation of what's called regenerative medicine technologies. Regenerative medicine works by stimulating our bodies through the use of energy-based devices like Neogen, lasers, even stem cells to heal, to restart, remodel, or facilitate damaged tissue regeneration. Now, as you may have already guessed, Neogen's applications go far beyond just aesthetics, although aesthetics remain the most common use for Neogen. Currently, Neogen's being used in some facilities in healing post-operative wound care, burn care, scar correction, severe acne control, all places that it's increasingly changing people's lives for the better. So if you're wondering if or how it's possible to completely, naturally, non-surgically, and painlessly make a face go from looking like this to this, or even a crepey body part to take it from this to this through advanced non-surgical Neogen PSR treatments, then stay tuned. So, how does it work? Neogen PSR uses medical-grade nitrogen gas combined with radio frequency, known as RF, energy, to create a fourth state of matter called plasma. Neogen does not use our own blood plasma. Neogen's nitrogen-based plasma energy is used to deliver a customized and carefully controlled level of thermal energy into the skin. That thermal energy gently expands its coverage as it makes its way through our skin layers. As Neogen's plasma energy drizzles down through our skin layers, it wakes and reinvigorates our natural collagen and elastin-producing skin cells with its energy transfer. Now, unlike low-level laser or CO2 lasers or even old-fashioned RF technology that only reach the superficial aspects of the skin's dermis, where type 1 and type 2 collagen cells are found, Neogen plasma reaches deep enough into our skin to stimulate all four types of collagen production: type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. So when Neogen's plasma energy reaches a type of skin cell called a fibroblast, found at the deepest layers of our skin called the hypodermis, that's where the extraordinary regenerative effects take place. You see, it's as those fibroblast cells become reinvigorated by Neogen's plasma thermal energy transfer. Their reward of thanks to you for this newfound energy jumpstart is to express themselves with new, youthful, structured, toned, smooth, and evenly pigmented skin cells. Now, the key concept in all of this is that for the first time ever, Neogen enables us to provide customized rejuvenation, meaning that Neogen plasma facilitates a rejuvenation by your body to regenerate youthful skin. However, unlike older one-size-fits-all approaches, Neogen allows for a fully customizable approach. We can now select the correct energy for each individual patient's skin type, pigmentation, goals, even lifestyle. That way, treatment is ideally suited for each person, and carefully controlled levels of plasma thermal energy is delivered, assuring that it reaches the hypodermis. And further, unlike older methods, there is no need to inject or fill your skin with Botox's neurotoxin botulism or synthetic acid-based fillers. There's no surgical cutting or ablation, which is really just a common euphemism used in aesthetics for burning or scorching off people's top layer of skin like the old-fashioned CO2 lasers do, there's no risk of scarring or infections because we don't have to burn. Let's look together now at a few different cases of Neogen treatments and the various protocols used so that you can get a sense of what's possible with this exciting breakthrough. Now, I'd like to begin with the eyes first for two reasons. First, with Neogen, we finally are able to treat eyes. Older technologies like laser or RF could not be used over the eyes because we would have damaged somebody's vision. But with Neogen, it's actually possible to safely treat the eyes. And second, as Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the eyes indicate the antiquity of the soul. And so, without further ado, here is some eyes pre and post Neogen. So I'd like to start by showing you eyes. And here is a 56-year-old patient who had her whole face was done, but her eyes came out exquisitely. I'll draw your attention in her before picture on the top of the screen to the folds of skin over the top of her eyelid, the texture of the eye, as well as some of the pigmentation here. And then really the pigmentation and texture changes, the dark circles under the eye compared to after. It's smoothed out, the dark circles are gone, the skin has been lifted. Virtually impossible before plasma because we couldn't treat directly over the eyes with the old-fashioned laser. We would have damaged people's vision. But with plasma, we can directly treat the eyes painlessly, and as well as all this pigmentation up against and close to the eye. And it really, this lady's eyes came out incredibly. Next, I'm going to show you 72-year-old eyes. Now, we haven't defeated the laws of human biology, right? But you can see the deep bags and the sagging skin under the eyelid, how much it's improved compared to before and after. You can see the tops, the skin here over the lid has certainly smoothed out. I think this came out really nicely. There was a lot of deep bags and a lot of folding skin there that has really been improved, and that's just after one treatment. So hopefully with a second and third, she really can achieve an even better result. Next, I'd like to show you somebody who I did personally, and this is 48 hours after her treatment. So we did a whole entire face and neck over this woman, and what you see on her face is the shininess is after the treatment, we've placed a CeraVe Deep Healing Lotion, which makes her look kind of shiny. It's a thick, goopy, oily treatment, and we have her applying that 3 times daily for about 5 to 6 days after a treatment, just to facilitate healing of that skin. But I'll draw your attention to her eyes, under here, some of those wrinkles, the depths of her nasolabial fold, the shape of her jaw here. And here she is just 48 hours later after her treatment. I think her jaw shape is already changing. Certainly it's improving under the eyes. She's still being a good kid. She's got her Deep Healing CeraVe lotion on, and she knows she's applying that at least 3 times daily and really gooping it on heavy before bedtime. But I did that one personally. I'm so pleased with how this woman came out, and her neck especially. When I called to check on her the next day, she was so happy already with the results she was seeing. She was crying, and she said, my facial recognition on my iPhone doesn't recognize my face. So that's a fantastic start to, and we'll see the results unfolding over the next 90 to 280 days. Here is another one I did personally. This is 48 hours after her treatment. So you can see her face was a little bit red, and she's got the CeraVe salve on already. That's kind of the redness that you can expect in the first 48 hours on your face. Restriction is, of course, no going out in the sun. But you can see the jawline is already changing here for this person. And those dark circles under her eyes are starting to fade a bit. Textural changes taking place, but 48 hours later, she's keeping that CeraVe Deep Healing salve on 3 times daily. But I think that this person already looks 4 or 5 years younger, and the tightening of her jawline and the lifting at her cheek is really exciting already. So we'll look forward to following that one over the next 30, 60, 90, 100, 180 days until we see the final result. And that's just after one treatment, 48 hours later. This would be considered a non-surgical facelift. Really a high energy treatment done at least 3 times. And that person, I really think they look somewhere between 5 and 7 years younger, not only at the eyes, but at the jawline, at the texture around the oral area here. We've got jawline that is sharpened and improved. Neck has smoothed. There's limitations of matter, and we haven't defied human biology. We're all still going to age. Father Time marches on. But this is an extraordinarily nice outcome to see those eyes rejuvenating and regenerating. And so, that, again, we consider that like a non-surgical facelift. Nothing injected, nothing cut. Really just done naturally through deep healing and the energy transfer from plasma. Here is another one that I would really think of it as a non-surgical facelift, but a much younger person. And what we have here is a lot of textural changes around the mouth, certainly lifting and textural changes around the eye. The folds of skin on the top of the eye have really improved. The dark puffiness, the bags under the eyes, and the depths of this area. This big line here is called the nasolabial fold. Of course, we have to have fancy words for everything. And you can see some of the folds around her mouth and oral area here. But the textural changes here, remarkable. That's really considered like a non-surgical facelift. I think she looks 10, maybe even 15 years younger if I'm guessing. So really, really nice outcome. And it can be used obviously on any body part. So we can do this on arms. I think arms might be becoming just as popular as a face, so that ladies can feel more comfortable when they're in a sleeveless shirt. With laser in the past, we could do skin tightening. We could create a generalized lifting and narrowing of the arm, but we really weren't successfully treating this crepiness with low-level laser therapy. Now with plasma, we can really all but eliminate that crepiness in the arms. So that's become a very popular area to work on. Guys, of course, they're mostly looking to do their necks and their jawlines, to sharpen those jawlines and give themselves a more youthful and vigorous look. But you can see those folds of skin and getting rid of those double chins and sagging jowls at the neck. Also, pigmentation changes and wrinkle control obviously is a big popular thing for the men. What else would I like to show? Oh, here is that person again I showed you on her forward-looking picture. You can see her 48 hours at the side. So she sent a side profile. And you can see the tightening of the neck already, the sharpening of her jawline. You can see that her cheek has a more general lift to it. And again, that's just 48 hours after her plasma treatment. A self-taken photo to the right there. We took the ones on the left in the office. But we bring everybody back 30, 60, and 90 days later at least to try to track the progress and stages along the way. Now, I hope you enjoyed that brief demonstration of what's possible with transformational technology like Neogen PSR. And I'd like to conclude with an observation and a question, which is why? Why do so many people pursue younger, healthier, tighter-looking skin? At Laser Body Renewal, we know that more youthful appearances enhances everyone's self-esteem and overall psychological well-being. When we can look in the mirror and see a vibrant reflection back, it boosts our confidence and makes us feel more capable in ways that permeate every aspect of our lives, from personal relationships to professional endeavors. Now, thankfully, we're all fortunate enough to live in a time and an age where regenerative medicine is here, and it's having massive impacts on everyday real lives. Best of all, it's more affordable than the old technologies ever were, and much more effective. So whether we're struggling with side effects from semaglutide drugs like Ozempic, and you now find yourself part of that skin laxity epidemic that they've caused, or if you're simply looking for a refresh and rejuvenation without the risk, expense, pain, and extended recovery of a surgical facelift, Neogen PSR is worth exploring. To schedule a consultation at any of our offices, please click the link in the description field below to visit our main site. Thanks so much for your attention. I hope to meet you soon.